can see Janice. I mean, I can mention all the names, and these are very great marketing people. Something interesting for me that I'm going to just share with you before I go into the presentation is I really believe that marketing is the force behind business, like some people say. I really believe that marketing is the one that drives the growth of business and drives the positioning of a business and takes the business where it needs to go. Because if marketers don't work significantly hard to understand consumers and understand markets and position brands properly, then we have a challenge. But one of the things that really excites me this afternoon or today is that one of our very own, who is been in marketing through and through, has actually gone through a very breakthrough situation where they're going to be leading, I think for the very first time in the history of this country, Kenya, where I am, one of our own is going to be leading a very big multinational as a managing director of that company. And that person happens to be a marketer who's actually gone through the ranks from the beginning of their career to where they are today. So it is possible to make marketing one of the biggest parts of the organization. Having said that, I'm going to probably switch on to my presentation for a short while. But before I do that, I really would like to see how these great people in marketing are looking. Everybody's putting on their what do you call it? Turned off their videos. Oh, there's Fatima. Fatima's taking the lead. Can we see all of you guys? Just a wave only. I know some of you are in your pajamas, some of you are in t-shirts, some are probably lying in bed. It would be nice to see all of you just for a wave, just for a minute to see all of you out there. I know how you're feeling great. I know you're tired. It's been a long day and everybody's been running up and down, but hey, let's make it great again. Yeah, so I'm going to put, hey, can you hear me? I can't hear you. You're saying something?
Sorry. I'm going to enable everybody to share their videos. I'm going to give everybody permission to share their videos.
Let's do that. Let's all see each other.
Might take a minute. So you can continue as I do it.
Being on the very last piece, I think we got it. So I'm going to just switch to my screen and just share with you a little bit, or if you allow me to present. I'll share my screen. I don't have very great presentations, but I'll share something small for here. Boom. Okay, so I just got to start my presentation with a small little bit here, which says, make marketing great again. For me, when I say make marketing great again, there are so many things that come to mind, and these things that come to mind are not anything that's going to be new to any of you. As great marketers, you've gone through this every day, and I come from a point of view that we got to, first of all, understand our trade. And if you understand our trade well enough, then other people will get to understand us. So I come from a point of view that, one, making marketing great again means some of these very simple steps and very simple things. Aim for the C-suite and beyond. Because if you don't have an aim for the C-suite and beyond, like I was telling you earlier, one of my very best friends and colleagues have managed to get themselves into the corner room, and they've gone to the very highest level of an organization, which is multinational and which is based in Kenya, which has never been led by a local all these years. They're sitting there because of the hard work they've done and the objectives that they set themselves and put their eyes on. The other thing that I believe in is be practical and apply marketing techniques other than just the theory itself. I mean, forgive me for this typo there. Be practical in your approach to marketing. Do things. Don't just think about them. Have critical thinking, using tools and strategies applied to effectively drive business. I mean, we've got a lot of people who have presented to us today. They've showed us how to use data. They've showed us how to mine insights. They've showed us how to do things differently. And I think all those things apply to how we apply ourselves to making marketing great again. Challenge. I think that's one of the biggest things that we have in marketing. Challenge the thinking. Challenge the concepts that are being put through. Think value of marketing, its role in your growth, in the growth of the organizations. A lot of the times, people think, is marketing really at the driving force, or is marketing really at the back of the room? If you're sitting in a boardroom, for example, with your colleagues across the organization, who leads the conversation about growth? Who is it that people look to tell them where they are going to find opportunity to get out of challenges like the ones we have today in the COVID situation? Is it finance? Is it going to be sales? Is it going to be driven by people in HR? Because my belief is that marketers ought to be out there understanding consumers and putting concepts together, working out there every day, every day in, day out, talking to consumers, understanding different trends, and solving problems for consumers. Because it's only when you understand that and solving problems for people that you can unlock opportunity for growth. If you think about it critically, that actually starts the whole work of making marketing great again, if not greater, starts with brand positioning. You know, the success of marketers is in the ability to define and deliver a winning, unique value proposition that differentiates their brand and products from those of competitors in their competitive sets, helping them win in the marketplace. Because if you're like the other product, then what's the point of difference for you and your organization? For example, if you're in the banking situation or banking space, what's the point of difference between your bank and the other bank? Do you offer online banking? Do you offer personalized service? Do you offer cash transfers? What do you offer? Do you offer premium services? What do you offer to make the differentiation of your product or of your brand? But the most important thing is that you have to work to deliver the positioning of that product first, because that's where everything emanates from. The other thing that is really critical is be revenue driven. Because if you don't drive revenue, then you have no place, because a lot of CEOs expect that marketing people will generate revenue for the organizations. The activities that you do need to generate growth. How do you generate growth? You generate growth by looking for long-term objectives for the brands. So then you can do things for the long term and do things for the short term. That's the only way that you're going to be thriving in your career as a marketer and get respect. If you look at it, all these things come from knowing your market. I think there's a question that came up on the panel a few minutes ago. I think I probably attempted to answer it. Somebody asked a question: what is the importance of trade marketing in marketing? And I answered the question by saying that, you know, the trade is where a lot of FMCG brands meet with consumers. And the trade is also owned a lot by people who sell your brands, sell your products and services. They offer you the space to put the product and services out there. If you don't know that operation, if you don't know that space, how will you connect with customers? How will you succeed? If you don't go, for example, to Carrefour, if you don't go to Zucchini to check out how people are behaving there, what are they interacting with, what are they buying, you know? So effectively knowing customers and your competitors and understanding their behavior gives you a very big advantage in terms of positioning a product and winning in the marketplace. The other thing which is very important for me that I look at is looking at creating remarkable customer experiences. Remember, customers always remember the experiences they go through with products and services. So create those experiences to be unique, create them to be richer than any other in the market, and make them truly resonate with customers and resonate with their aspirations. Besides that, we need to be effective communicators. Marketers, as leaders of organizations, one of the biggest things in marketing is being a part of a remarkable experience and telling the story and telling a good story. It's harder than ever to get a consumer's attention. How do you tell your story? How do you ensure that if you're given the platform, if you're putting a product on LinkedIn, for example, if you're putting a product on television, putting a product on radio, what are you saying? How are you going to cut through that clutter? How are you going to stop people or get people to stop to listen to you? You've got to be able to do effective communications to do that. But when I say effective communication, there's something I'm going to come to as well. I think Angela mentioned something quite interesting earlier on in the day. Angela said, look, you don't have to be a master at everything. Just do the things that you do well and learn to continue doing the things that you do well. But there's something that's coming back here. And if you look at this laundry list of things we're talking about, something else will come up, and just keep that in mind when it comes to just trying to think, because I know some people are trying to think that we are getting overwhelmed by a lot of things that not all of us can be experts at. But there's something that's coming up which is so interesting that will bring it all together. Test everything, assume nothing, you know? Many marketers make decisions based on their gut instincts, you know? But with a wealth of data available to them, this need not be the case. I just seen research people presenting data. I saw I saw people presenting data. That data is there for you to mine. I remember somebody used to tell me, operate like a sleuth, operate like an investigator, you know? Go out there, dig through the data, volumes and volumes and piles of data. Find out what it is that's going to differentiate your product and differentiate your brand from what else is ever there, you know? And never stop learning the outlook and the big picture. You know, marketing is changing at a rapid pace. A lot of things have changed. I mean, look at what is happening right now. I've seen a lot of evolution from people not being able to interact freely in the open, and so many brands, so many products and services have been created in this area. I mean, I can mention many brands that are now not the same anymore. They're offering products and services which people can access from where they're sitting. Look at Zoom, for example. Zoom, for example, has grown to be one of the most valuable brands around the world, just because it's enabling us to connect from wherever you're sitting without having to get into the space. Somebody saw the problem and sat down and designed that product. They looked at the bigger picture and say, how are we going to continue to get people to meet without having to be physically in the same place? So there is a lot of opportunity for us as marketing people to lead in this space. I mean, if you think about it again, using customer data to make decisions, which you talked about, data all the time, because a lot of the times when you're doing marketing, we sit in boardrooms and we make presentations to board members or to our boards and our managing directors. What is the rationale when you ask yourself, what is the rationale for the decisions that you're asking the organization to take to give you money or to support your propositions? It has to be based on something from the customer. I remember some time back when I was brand manager, and they asked me a question of, I think I'll tell you as it is. We were sitting in a boardroom and we just created new advertising for product. And we presented it. When we finished presenting it, I think we spent something like close to 15 million shillings at the time. And the chairman of the organization sitting at the top of the table asked a question. And he said, how is that advertising? How can that be advertising coming from us? I don't like it, you know? And you can imagine as a brand manager sitting in the front and you're being told, I don't like the advertising by the chairman. The first thing that happens is that your heart sinks straight away. My heart didn't sink. I sat back and I say to the chairman, Chairman, what I'm presenting to you is not for me, neither is it for you, because I don't like it either. But the people that we made it for, who are the customers and the consumers, love it. And I could back it with the data that came from a market that showed us that they love it. Because we tested it, we used consumer data, first of all, to create the communication. We tested the communication amongst the consumers who we created it for. When we played it for them and we showed it to them, they love it. They loved it. And true, when I put the data, he asked me, show me. And I went back to my computer and got the slide that has the data, and I packed it up. And when I showed it and I showed the trends that are happening with the product and why they love it and how it was created, they said, well, I rest my case. Go ahead, you know? So therefore, I'm just using this as an illustration of using customer data to drive decisions, which gives you credibility and gives you grounding for whatever you're doing. It doesn't become my opinion versus your opinion. It becomes what you're doing for customers. Another thing that is important is become a marketing technologist. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this today, especially in the COVID-19 situation where we are. A lot of us have become marketing technologists. How many of us have now learned how to even use their phones for meetings, use their phones for communication, for their emails, for their everyday work? Before, we relied on computers and nothing else. We relied on other people doing things for us. Some of us relied on PAs in the office. I'm sure a lot of you don't have those access to those PAs or those IT people. Now you're doing all these things by yourselves. And that, but more importantly, it's the understanding of technology and how it connects with consumers and how it helps you reach them. I mean, think about it this way. Organizations spend a significant amount of money on communication or advertising. A lot of advertising still goes on television, and I've got nothing against television, but a majority of consumers have also shifted to a new space online, where advertising is probably easier to create, advertising is faster to create, and also it's more personalized in a way of reaching people, and the wastage is reduced. So I think the thing is that let's think beyond what is today and think what is the new space, what does technology help us deliver to customers. One other thing is cool. I mean, I don't know how many people in marketing have had, this is very interesting to me, I must say, that a lot of people think that getting things done does not have to have a schedule. It becomes a rolling ball. But if we keep things as rolling balls, we will never, ever achieve our objectives. We will never, ever carry people along with us. So I think it's important as marketing people that actually we respect our schedules. We plan things, we do things to plan, and we make sure that we get them done on time. Otherwise, the opportunity goes. There is competition all over the place. So if you plan something, remember that there are probably 1,000 people planning the same thing. So what makes you the winner? The winner must get their things done on schedule and get them done when they say they're going to do them. And one other thing is, again, back to personal discipline as well. If you set up a meeting with somebody, keep them. I think all these things get to show how serious we are, how driven we are in terms of getting things to commitment. One more here is learn how to write. How many people can write well? Because if you don't write well, and this is another thing which is so important, if you don't write well, then you can't tell the other person what is in your mind or what you're thinking. I'm sure people leave voicemails these days, but still, I come from an old school where if you're working, say, for example, with agencies, if you're working with brand managers and you're telling people, showing people what to do, it is so important that your writing is clear. It is so important that we learn to write briefs. We learn to explain things to people in a certain way that when they read what you're writing, they actually understand, but not second guess what you mean with what you're writing. Because it's critical that writing explains exactly what you're doing and what you're looking for. So that when agencies look at your brief, they say, wow, that's quite inspiring. I want to work on it and deliver against it. Deliver specific, identifiable results. Marketers must deliver results, whether it's lifting brand awareness, whether it's generating a certain number of qualified leads or delivering revenue. Marketing is now on the hook to perform. You know, if you just say, I'm going to put up those billboards, I'm going to make that television commercial, I'm going to do those road shows, I'm going to set up this event online. What are you setting these things up for? You know, there must be some results that are attached to these things so that organizations actually think that, oh, wow, there's actually value that these marketing people are bringing to the table. So that's really critical that we think about it this way. Another thing that's really critical for me is looking at leadership. I think nothing else can be more great or more important than leadership when it comes to marketing and driving change. You know, taking risks, building trust with people. If you don't build trust with people, they won't come with you. If you don't take risks, you won't make the change. If you don't lead, you won't be able to effectively create space for yourself and create space for people. And when I talk about leadership, one of the things that comes to my mind is if we really want to make marketing great again, and here I'm going to refer to the Kenyan situation again, we got to be able to take leadership, not just as marketing people, but the industry itself. I mean, we got to be able to have our marketing organizations take leadership of the marketing space, both from our leadership from a corporate perspective for their brands and the organizations, and also to lead the industry. Organizations like the CIM, organizations like the Marketing Society of Kenya have to come out to take leadership of the space and to show how marketing is great. We got to be able to showcase some of the things that you're doing as marketing people to gain respect with other professions, to gain respect with the political space, in the political space, to gain respect with the CEOs, to gain respect internationally and locally. But if we continue doing things the way we are doing them today, well, I'm sorry that marketing will just continue disappearing. The accountants will take the space, the HR people will take the space, the PR people will take the space. Remember, everybody is a marketer because nobody seems to, we're not doing enough to put marketing at the front of everything that organizations and people do. So I think really, this is really, really close to my heart, and I'd urge us to take this space. Come on, guys, let's take the leadership. Let's bring it to everybody's doorstep. Another thing here, which is I said earlier that I'm going to address this earlier. And Angela, sorry, I'm going to talk to your point again earlier that said that you don't have to be an expert at everything. And I really love that, which means collaborate with people, communicate exceptionally, bring people in who can help you deliver using the skills that they have. So the fact that they say I'm a marketer doesn't mean that I do all these things we've been talking about by myself. I bring all those hands on deck to help deliver, each person bringing one brick at a time to make sure that we deliver. The communications people come in, the data people come in, the product development people come in, the PR people come in, the sales people come in, if you like, the digital marketing people come in. And we've got all these people coming in just to create the environment that is going to be successful for us to deliver as marketing people. We just have to be leaders to recognize what needs to be done and to show the direction for these people to follow so that we can deliver for our organizations. And one more, and probably the very last one, is innovation and creativity. If you don't innovate and you don't create, you won't be different. So reaching for the next idea, think like a startup. I'll tell you a little story about my startup story, which I really believe in, is, you know, when all of us sitting around this table, sitting around this room, think of what you're going to do this evening or tomorrow morning, many of us at least know where our next meal is going to come from. A lot of us also perhaps have a bed to go back to which is warm and probably have a warm bath before they get to sleep tonight. Think about it this way. And a lot of you drive along the roads of Nairobi and wherever you live. There are some people in this country who live on $1 a day or less than $1 a day. Those people have to find food every day, not just probably for themselves, but also for their families. If you look at the things that they do every day to earn money, then you'll figure out what creativity and innovation really begins to become. Not in the big way that we spend millions of shillings to get there, but you got to act like a startup. You got to act as though if you didn't make that extra shilling today, there's nothing you're going to eat, there's no tomorrow. I'm sure you see people waking up in the morning and setting up tables by the side of the road to sell roast meat. They sell oranges. I mean, they sell mitumba. They do sell it without shame, but they try to be creative in the way they do it. All the time, they're trying to find new ways of doing it. I watched a lady one time along Gong Road. She had a little banda on the side of the road, which is a kiosk. She had fire on a jiko next to her. And then she was selling peanuts, roast peanuts. She was actually using the hot coal on the jiko to seal her peanuts into tubes or into whatever polythene tubes, measuring them piece by piece. And she would then go to the people who were riding in the matatus to go and sell this on the side of the road. She didn't need a factory, but she created this. And I'm sure today, if I go back today and I'll go find her, she probably moved from there and done something greater than that. But also think about organizations like, say, for example, Sandy, for example, who are today creating personal shopping spaces for people sitting at home and working. All you have to do is get onto the app and dial and then buy your food, do your grocery shopping while you're sitting at work and getting it done. So, I mean, use the space, understand what consumers are looking for, what their constraints are, what their motivations are. Find something in this space to innovate and do something for them. Whether it's been the service area, product area, whether it's been the communication area, find something to do so we can make marketing great again. So I would just bring that to bear and say, thank you for giving me that opportunity to share these few tips. It looks like a laundry of lists from end to end. And that's why I say it was greater for me to come at this time because it allowed me to perhaps pick up from what others have said, and also allows me to wrap it up in a way that it comes to bear on everything else that everybody said. And I must say that some of my presentation has been inspired by a lot of the great things that you guys have said. I listened to the ladies talking about the panel. I listened to all of you guys talking about what you've done with marketing. And I think the sky is the limit. But we just must make sure that we own that space that we are creating. We use that opportunity that we've been given by our organizations to show that we're actually bringing value and driving growth. Let's make our organizations change our titles from marketing managers, brand managers, marketing directors to growth leaders and growth drivers. Let them look at us as the pillars of the organizations that we work for. I think if we do that, and if the country starts to look at us as the great people that are driving this country forward, then we'll be winning. I mean, I can't wait for the day when we can see the president of this country or our countries, wherever we are, coming and calling the marketing people to the table to come and help solve some of the problems that the country is having. And I must say, I'm guilty as charged. And I believe all of us are guilty as charged for not taking this space and driving it forward. So I hope that today perhaps marks a day that we change